Hi, I'm Kelsey from Nested Sleep. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, I'm going to go through how to prepare your toddler or preschooler for sleep training or making sleep changes. This is definitely necessary in this age group because your kiddo is going to have a whole lot more questions on why we're making this change than your baby is going to have. So typically when you're doing sleep training with your young baby or infant, you are not going through the step-by-step of why you're doing it, how you're doing it. As parents, you definitely are in it yourselves and need to communicate between your partner and you what's going to work best for you, but it's definitely more on the parents. Whereas sleep training for your toddler or preschooler or even school-age child, that is definitely going to be something you're going to want to discuss with them. And it depends on their developmental level and age, how in-depth that preparation is going to be. For a younger child, you're not going to be going into the background and research and science behind why you're making these changes, but that may be beneficial for your school-age child. But for your younger child and up that are more in that toddler and preschool age is where we're going to focus today. And so we know, first off, that research does show us from a behavioral perspective that following a predictable set of a routine within bedtime leads to both improvement in sleep onset at bedtime and also predicts overall better quality sleep throughout the night. And so we definitely want to implement that routine for them in a way that they can understand and break down. And you want them to be able to sequence or pattern that behavior every single night. And so while in the long term, you may not need to have a super strict and firm bedtime routine every single night, when you're making these sleep changes, it's imperative that you do follow a very strict set of a pattern that your child can predict and then show you to start to implement themselves. So when we're talking about preparing our whole family for making sleep changes in this toddler and preschool time, first I'm going to talk to you about how to explain and make the changes to your toddler or preschooler. And then we're going to end and wrap up with talking about, well, how do you prepare as parents? And also, what types of language should you be using when your child is asking questions? So first off, let's talk about time and when you should talk to your child about making changes. So when we're thinking for 1, 2, 3-year-olds, these changes, we're just going to be wanting to talk to them that day. So say you choose a Friday night that you're going to want to start sleep training. So you're going to want to talk to them Friday afternoon about making some changes. So let's talk about behavioral change with kids that are this age group. So with behavior change in that 1, 2, 3-year-old age group, you're not going to go into the science and the research and everything behind that. You're not going to give them long, drawn-out paragraph answers of why you're doing sleep training and how you're doing sleep training. But they are going to have questions because this is not the norm for them, right? They're used to maybe being rocked to sleep, and that's not going to happen anymore. So how do we show them what is going to happen? We want to show them a visual routine of step-by-step what we're going to be doing. And so the best way to do that is with a routine chart. And so I do have a free download available for you of a bedtime routine. You're going to want to use a routine chart that is visual. This is very important for this age group to have that visual sequence. It can really help them understand the words that you're saying. So when you say, okay, we're gonna go ahead and start the routine by brushing our teeth. They do know the concept probably of brushing their teeth because they've done that before with you, but it hasn't been in an order. So you're going to want to bring that chart with you wherever you are. You're gonna say, okay, we're going to go potty right now. We're gonna go through this step. And so you wanna really bring them in visually to know, okay, we're gonna do A, B, and C, and then we're going to get into bed and we're gonna fall asleep. And so you really want to, again, be very firm, no matter which caregiver is doing the routine, using your routine chart to show them visually. So not only do you want to pull out that routine chart right before the routine, but it can be helpful for a little bit older of a child, 3, 4 years old, to show them this routine chart in the afternoon. So again, you're not going to show them days and days ahead that you're going to be making changes on Friday, but it comes Friday afternoon. You can say, hey, we're going to be doing a new bedtime tonight. Let me show you what that is. And you can pull out that routine chart. Now, for sometimes, especially older kiddos, they may really want to personalize that routine chart. And so you can go ahead and draw one out. You can even take some Polaroid pictures and put it on a routine chart. That can be helpful for them to really be involved within the process. And so, again, you're going to want to do that in that afternoon. The other thing you want to kind of prepare ahead of time, a few hours before the bedtime routine, is if anything you're doing within sleep training or making sleep changes is going to involve dropping something, such as a pacifier or a bottle that they typically will get at bedtime, you're going to want to give that away or use that process, use that time in the afternoon to get those bottles out of the house. So say you're dropping the bottle, you're going to want to collect all of those bottles, maybe, have a little hide and seek game where you're collecting all of the bottles and then you're, say, giving them away to another child and putting them outside on the doorstep. So you're not going to want to do that right before bedtime, because bedtime is a time when there's a lot of energy, sometimes overtiredness that can come into play, and you're not going to want to make all of those changes right before sleep time and get them all active and riled up at that point. So you're going to want to do that in the afternoon if you're giving something physically away, such as a bottle or a pacifier. Other things to do when you're preparing your younger child in that afternoon can be to use that visual routine chart you have and do a little bit of a role play situation. So use one of their dolls or stuffed animals to say, we're gonna put Bunny to bed. Okay, let's go through the routine chart with Bunny. Bunny's gonna brush his teeth, Bunny's gonna read books with us, and then we're gonna put Bunny into bed and cover him up with his covers. Okay, so that's what the process is gonna look like. Now, during this whole time, usually kids are excited. It is something new. You're spending one-on-one time with them. That's all good stuff. This whole process, it doesn't make the actual sleep training easier, right? It doesn't make you not rocking them to bed easier, but they know what to expect. And you can continue to, night after night, as you're making these changes, reference that routine chart. Reference those talking points that you've talked with them about of this new routine and how you're ending the routine. You're always going to end the same way, with getting them in their crib or bed, saying goodnight to them, and then going through the process of whatever you're going to do. And then lastly, again, we want to wrap up with talk about you as parents and how you are preparing, because children feed off of your worries, your anxiety, and so you need to be prepared and have a plan yourself. So sometimes that could be like, okay, you've read the books, you're prepared, you wrote down your plan. Sometimes that may be getting a personalized sleep plan from me. You have talked as parents. You want to make sure you're communicating that you are doing the same routine. So if night one, dad is going to do Friday night and mom's going to do Saturday night, make sure you're following the same process, going through the routine chart in the same way, and talk about it ahead of time as parents in your own space, and then go ahead and talk about your child with your child together. So you're going to want to come up with a plan that works for your family, that you know you can be consistent with and support each other throughout the process. So hopefully that is helpful for some key tips on preparing your toddler preschooler for sleep training, for sleep changes. Hope that's helpful. Please reach out with any questions you have or any one-on-one support you need. Thanks so much and have a great day.